the Adam and Eve story, as it's written in the Bible, is not about the origin of sin. It might be about the origin of death, right? But it's not. It doesn't explain where sin comes from. Adam gets a commandment that he disobeys, right? And there's no explanation of how he was able to disobey it. There's nothing that says and now everyone will sin. Nothing like that. The consequences are essentially you are going to be suffer the way humans suffer, right? So you're going to have to grow your food. You can't just eat it like animals do. It doesn't say like animals do, but that's kind of the subtext. Is that there's certain things that animals can just kind of graze or eat fruit. You're going to have to live by the sweat of your brow, right? And Eve is going to give birth in pain, right? As opposed to at least most animals that can just give birth. And that's I think that there are some animals that have more of a problem, but I've heard that that for humans that is very much a result of having large heads that have and being walking upright. So you've got a small pelvis and a large head that has to go through it, and that's one of the issues. But there are other issues with human childbirth that make it not automatic, that make it kind of difficult. And all these different things are the consequences of that sin, and then of course they're thrown out of the Garden of Eden. But there's nothing there that actually says, oh, and now everyone's going to sin. There's more of a statement about sin when we talk about Cain and Abel, because Cain actually gets an oracle from God telling him this is what sin is like. Sin wants you, but because sin wants you, you can control it. Now there is a parallel when God talks about sin to Cain. There's absolutely a parallel between that and the verbal structure is identical to the way God talks about sin in that oracle, to the way God talks about Eve's desire for Adam that's a punishment in the Adam and Eve story. So it wouldn't be that big a stretch for someone to say, oh, I mean, it would be a little bit of a stretch, but you could say, oh, God said about Eve that her desire is to her husband and he will rule over her. And God's saying to Cain that sin's desire is to him and he will rule over sin. Maybe that's their parallel, woman and sin, right? Now, but that is, and that's probably where this, I mean, that and the combination of the actual story where, after all, Eve gives Adam the fruit, right? So that, and in fact, what we see in Second Temple literature is that this story is generally not considered a story about the origin of sin.